are in Lake Rant, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one is for Justin Manzi, who says, rant about Phantasy Star Online, and if you still play Pso Two or have played any of the Blue Burst servers that still run the original episodes 1 and 2. I currently play on a server called Ephenea with around 120 active users. I've also never played Pso Two. Is it better or worth trying, seeing you play it on Digibro versus everybody? Oh my god, Phantasy Star Online, for the GameCube specifically, episodes 1 and 2, one of my favorite video games of all time, the most endlessly replayable couch multiplayer, as I like to consider it. If you never heard of it, Phantasy Star Online was originally a Dreamcast MMORPG. It uses a structure where basically you've got a ship that's like the hub, and then you and your squad will take on like individual missions in these levels. And, go grind and kill lots of monsters and play a good old MMO time. So it's basically all instance playing. There's not like an open world where you're with all the, different players or anything. You just kind of encounter them on the ship, on whichever server you happen to be on. But, yeah, the game is hella addicting. It's just the basic combat loop. It's very simple. You've got like a 3-hit combo you use on enemies. Changes slightly depending on your weapon. You might have magic or guns or traps that you can use, but for the most part, you're just kind of doing the same thing over and over again, as is usually the case in an MMO game. Collecting loot, steadily leveling up, and a lot of the game is in the maintenance, because in order to heal in this game, you have to use healing items for both health and magic, or else, go to the nurse's office on, like, the ship. But if you die, you lose all your money. So you have to keep your money in the bank. You have to make sure that you're making enough money to get healing items, or make sure that you're collecting them out in the fields, and it can be competitive between you and your friends about getting these things. So, like, a lot of your gameplay is about basic upkeep, making sure you have enough items and, that you can make it back to the ship, because, like, you can always run back through a level to the ship, or you can use something called a telepipe if you have them. It lets you teleport back, to do some, maintenance before you go back into the field, because you can only carry, 10 of each healing item on you at a time. So, if you run out in the middle of a level, you might be fucked. So it's very much a game about, like, preparing before going out into the field, and then, slowly making progress, slowly grinding away at opening new levels, opening new pathways, and, playing with your friends. So, good old Phantasy Star Online episodes 1 and 2 on the GameCube, what's great about it is it had local multiplayer for up to 4 players, and I have 2 younger brothers, and usually we had at least one friend who was, like, always around. So, I played a lot of 4-player Pso 1 and 2, which has bad frame rate slowdowns when you're playing with that many people, but whatever, it's still a good time. It's just a very addicting game with great music, a very unique aesthetic, because it's all sci-fi themed, but also like kind of anime-ish, but a very like distinctive anime style. It's fucking fun to play, man, and the party structure is interesting because you don't have traditional parties. It's not like tank, healer, DPS. Like that, those roles still exist. You still will fall into one of those categories on some level, but it's not like the tank is has all these like tank skills that are about pulling aggro and stuff like that. It's more just like it's more about positioning. It's more of an action RPG than a traditional MMO is. So yeah, I just have a lot of fun with it. And then there's Pso Two, which is, I would say, a more fun game than the old Phantasy Star Online. It's a lot faster. It's you got like better combos, way more attacks, weapon switching on the fly. You can dash around. The levels are like a bit more streamlined. I mean, they're fairly similar to the old game, but like there's better enemy variety. I mean, it's pretty much an upgrade in all ways. The only problem is that it's only on PC, and you can only play it online. There's no couch multiplayer, which is like my favorite part of old PSO. Now, the times I've played the most PSO2 was when me and my brothers all were just playing it, in different rooms in the same house on our computers using voice chat to communicate. So, it's still playable with your friends, obviously. And we had a great time doing it that way. Probably played it for a solid week or two. I'm not somebody who really plays any video game for like a long stretch of time. The only MMO I've ever level capped in was Terra, and I basically made it to 60 over the course of a month and then didn't play anymore. I did dailies for like 5 days maybe, and that was it. So I didn't even do any raids because I don't really like playing with other people and having to make commitments like that. Which is great about PSO is that it's not really that type. It's not like very raid focused. There are raids, obviously. PSO 2, the biggest problem with trying to play it as an American is that it's never been released stateside. But there are English patches. At the time that me and my brothers were playing it, the English patches were very incomplete. They didn't translate like any of the quest stuff, so it was pretty difficult to figure out what the hell you were doing. A lot more of it has been translated now, so if you get the English patch, the game is pretty playable. I wouldn't say it's overly difficult to understand. You play with players around the world, so there's plenty of people on there, and it's a fucking good time. I would definitely recommend it. If you enjoy playing PSO, online, there's no reason not to play PSO 2. The English patch is easy to come by. The hardest part is just making an account on the website in Japanese, but there's guides to doing it, so, if I could do it, you could do it. But yeah, I haven't played it any time recently. Like, me and my brothers, we played through, I think, most of the levels, but again, at the time, we couldn't really do that many quests, so we couldn't really go that far with the game. It kind of reached a point where it was like, I want to wait for this to have more English, before I want to continue. And then with Digibro versus Everybody, me and May we were going to try to get into the game and like play it together. Like that was going to be an MMO that we played, and we were supposed to play it on our own time in between episodes and spend more time figuring things out and like getting a hold of what we were doing in the game, because it had been years since I'd played it, so I didn't really remember the basics of how to play. But we just never found a chance. Like, I was so busy at the time that the only time we played it was during the show, and so we inevitably played pretty badly, especially me, because I just couldn't tell what the fuck I was doing, and she didn't really know the game that well, so, like, we just kind of rushed in, and we're just confused and lost. I'd still be interested in playing it. She and I have talked about trying to get into an MMO together. We're talking about probably playing Final Fantasy XIV once the Bunny Girls come out. So, I don't know if I'll return to PSO2 anytime soon, but I still have it on my computer, and I definitely think it's a great game. Love me some Phantasy Star Online. I've wanted to do an IM Games video about PSO on the GameCube as the ultimate local multiplayer game. So look forward to that. It might happen eventually, depending on where I go with video gaming content from this point forward.